Peace and Black Power families, brother Agyei Tyehimba from Harlem Liberation School, where we proudly teach black people to wake up, clean up, and stand up. For those of you who do podcasts, broadcasts on social media, and you have guests, I'm going to give you 3 powerful tips that will help you make those interviews more engaging, more respectful, and more eye-opening from the standpoint of the audience. I get a lot of comments in my email, sometimes on the channel, Harlem Liberation School's channel. Sometimes my friend or two will call and they'll say, hey man, the interview you do with Brother Daruba bin Wahad was off the hook. The interview you do with the anchor woman Cheryl Wills was off the hook. I thought about that and I said, well, what are the ingredients that make for these interviews that a lot of people apparently find pretty compelling and pretty interesting? And I came up with 3 main things. Number 1, family, only interview the people that you genuinely respect. I don't bring anybody on a Harlem Liberation School broadcast that I don't genuinely respect. I may disagree with them on some things, but I respect them. And that decision is not a personal one, it's professional. Because mutual respect is the foundation upon which really great conversations come. People you don't respect, you don't really want to talk to, for one. But when you respect your guest, when you genuinely respect their intellect, their activism, their scholarship, whatever it is, you're going to listen attentively to them. You're going to make sure you prepare, do your homework, and ask the type of questions that are worth their time on your show. And you're going to create a space where your guests feel seen, heard, and valued. Very important. If you invite somebody on a broadcast on your channel just because they're popular, they're trending, or maybe they're sensational, and you figure they're going to get you a lot of views, family, you're making a big mistake if you secretly resent the guest or don't respect the guest. You're going to feel it in the energy. The guest is going to feel it. The audience watching it live on the later recorded version will feel it. Tip number 2, ask questions that allow your guest to shine. Speaking for myself, my goal as an interviewer is never to outshine or compete with my guests. It's their 15, 30, 60, or 90 minutes to shine. I reached out to them because I saw value in them and that they would bring value to my broadcast. So I'm going to make sure that I do the things within my power to have them feel respected, qualified, and competent. Have the audience leave that shit like, wow, that brother or sister was deep. They're really intelligent, or they're really resourceful, they're really informed, or they've been in the movement a long time. I want to highlight their brilliance. The host, just like a good leader and community organizer, knows when to get off stage, fall back, and allow room for the guest to shine and give their point of view, promote their items, talk about their work. The host shouldn't be there doing that. If you got a hour, 90-minute show and you spend the vast majority of it promoting what you're doing, talking about your experiences, then you're missing the mark. Because if you wanted that type of show, you should be on by yourself. One of the reasons I'm on by myself in my broadcast is because I have very specific things I want to say, and I don't want outside voices getting in the way of the message, diluting the message, confusing the message, or trying to redirect the message. No, this is what I want to say. I want to get it out with no distractions and no diversions. So I have my own broadcast. But notice, when I have guests on, I go to the background. They're going to do most of the talking, not me. They're going to do the defining, the explaining, the reframing. That's their job as the guest. As the host, I'm there to ask the questions to facilitate this guest shining. That's a very important, and you'd be surprised how often people don't get that. If you ever, particularly if you were from New York and you had the pleasure of watching Gil Noble's Like It Is show, you notice he didn't do a lot of the talking. He asked the questions, he sat back, the camera was on the guest, and the guest was allowed to go to explain themselves. Occasionally he would have his follow-up questions, but he basically set the stage for the guests to shine. And he had powerful guests, Bob Marley. He had, oh my gosh, John Henry Clark, Dr. Ben, so many of our powerhouses. Allow them to talk about their lives, how they became conscious, what their contributions are, what they hope to accomplish in the movement. Allow them space to drop gems. Allow them space to to open windows to how they think, to let the audience say, wow, I thought the person was this way, and they got all these other dimensions. I would not have known if I didn't see this particular interview. That's because the guest is great with or without your interview. Because of how you handled the interview, you captured people's interest. You had your guest open up, and we get to see more layers of this guest revealed to us, and it's a much more interesting experience. I want you to think of being a host and having a guest like being a point guard in basketball, throwing the alley-oop pass to your star forward or center. Now, yeah, you could have taken the ball and dribbled for 100 minutes and showed off your handle and your skills, but you realize, oh, my man is open. It's not about me. I'm going to throw the pass. I'm going to let him dunk it, do some sensational dunk, and get the applause. The validation I get as the host is knowing that I set you up to look good. It's the same thing. A host has to know when to get rid of the ball and give it to the guests so they could do something spectacular. And that actually is a form of humility. Know when to step back and let the guests shine. Tip number 3. This is maybe one of the most important. Ask open-ended questions, not leading questions. Now, what do I mean by open-ended? It means you don't tell them how to answer. You don't put words in their mouth. I think that, right? So now they're pit against you. They may feel uncomfortable. They may disagree, but they may not want to come off disrespectful like they disagree with you on your show. So you want to have open-ended questions. When you ask open-ended questions, it implies and it demonstrates that you actually want to learn something from your guest, which presumably is why you have a guest. Does this make sense, family? Give them latitude to address things the way they see fit, from their perspective, even if it turns out that it counters what you believe. Let me give you 2 examples. First question is, don't you think capitalism is the root of all our problems? So you say, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I don't know. Now check this question out. What role do you think capitalism plays in shaping black communities? They could take that another. They could say, well, they can get into the definition of capitalism, and by nature, capitalism does this, makes people ruthless and individualistic, vulgar careerists, chasing money and status and not doing great jobs, not being conscientious. It alienates people from their family and from the community and from themselves. They can get really into it, and now the audience gets a richer, multi-layered answer, as opposed to the real simplistic answer they give you with the leading question. The second question gives nuance, perspective, depth, and it's authentic because they're answering freely without the constraints of the leading question, right? The leading question kind of ties people up and could make certain people uncomfortable. So definitely, family, like, share, subscribe. With that said, thank you for watching. Peace and Black Power.